welcome back to Game. Definitely want to thank you guys for all your emails and for your, following us on Facebook and hitting us up on Twitter. We're, definitely receiving the love. Remember, if you haven't already, that you can email us at gameshowchat@gmail. You can also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter at gameshowchat. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. As always, I am Megashawn, and today we have a fantastic subject. We're going to be talking about Bruce Lee and his influence on martial arts and movies. I have my man GQ and the fantastic Jay here to debate. Fellas, game on.
Well, in terms of, I don't even think it's really a debate. Bruce Lee is the man, period, bar none. When you think martial arts, if you have a conversation about martial arts and you don't say Bruce Lee, something is wrong with that conversation. Something is wrong with everybody sitting in that conversation that didn't bring up Bruce Lee to begin with, because he was the man, period.
Bruce Lee is the single reason I'm wearing my Ninja Star cufflinks. Yeah. I mean, seriously, Bruce Lee, when I was a kid and saw my first Bruce Lee flick, I'm pretty sure it was Enter the Dragon. I've never seen a little dude who seemed about this big just beat the crap out of so many people, man. I mean, he brought this Hong Kong cinema feel over here. People have been trying to replicate his style and what he's done for years. I mean, Bruce Lee gave us the Great White Hope, Chuck Norris. Almost single-handedly launched the career of Jackie Chan, and then gave us so many bad 80s, kind of pseudo-rehash Bruce Lee in bad generic Asian kung fu guy. I mean, he was really just a pioneer in what he did. And the man's just fantastic. Yeah. I was watching Enter the Dragon recently, and there were some 9-year-old kids in the room. And it was so funny, because they're like, what are the white people for? And we just said cannon fodder. I mean, seriously, we were just clowning these people. Yeah. And it really just got to show them, what this stuff is all about. Yeah. I mean, they say Bruce Lee is the grandfather of mixed martial arts. I mean, kickboxing and everything. I mean, Jean-Claude Van Damme wouldn't have a career if it weren't for Bruce Lee. He would be some bad homoerotic fitness model dancing in the background of some bad video, if it wasn't for
Breaking
Bruce Lee.
too. Electric Boogaloo. I mean, and I think there's a lot of people, though, honestly, that I don't think their careers would have been where they are now if not for what Bruce Lee did. Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan was a stuntman in Chinese Connection. He was the one that took that fall out of the window, at the end of the movie. And he was, of course, the guy that got his neck broke by Bruce Lee in Enter the Dragon in the underground fight scene. So Jackie Chan's career, was basically kind of, in a sense, jump-started by Bruce Lee. Jet Li, who essentially was kind of, in my opinion, the way he acts, the way he carries himself in some of his movies was kind of the successor to Bruce Lee. And then Sammo Hung, he was in the opening sequence of Enter the Dragon. Wesley Snipes probably wouldn't even, because martial arts wouldn't have been what it is in movies today if Bruce Lee hadn't done what he done.
Do you think a lot of that has to do with his dedication to the craft? Even in some of his films, I was doing some research and saw that he had, studied for those, and he wanted to do everything to the T. Everything wanted to be precise, and he was very adamant about who he was and adamant about his craft, and that was able to transcend, and down to Wesley Snipes or the Van Dammes and whomever. Like you said, this is a little bitty guy, but he's inspired, so many. It was like a way of life.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's really inspiring the way he carried himself, his philosophy, the Be Water speech. I mean, that you can't take that entire quote and not just be able, you can apply it to martial arts easily, but if you can't look at that quote and see how it can apply to life, just the way you live your life, being formalist, being able to fit in, and being able to just kind of adapt to a situation, you're looking at the wrong thing, you're reading the wrong book, you're not, something's going on.
Sure.
Because,
and not only that, but here's somebody who decided, you know what, I'm gonna go out and be the best that I can. Yeah. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna be the best martial artist, the best actor that I can be. Yeah. And I want to sit here and I want to take this and show off what we can do. I mean, the man created his own style. Yeah. I mean, how many people can sit here and say, I created an entire martial arts style based upon what I wanted to do? Yeah. I mean, I can't think of too many.
Yeah, and then I've always loved that quote about, the man, who's tried 1,000 punches, but he's being more afraid of the man who's done one punch 1,000 times. Just that, like you said, with the Beast Beats could transcend through life, because it's like if you are consistent in anything, you know, the fruits of that will soon pay off. So, you know, whether it's, you know, sports, whether it's, you know, martial arts, whether it's, you know, hosting television, you know, the more you're doing something, the more you're consistent at that, the better you're going to get. And that was something that you could tell he did, whether it was one punch or anything. But I do think that one of the things I loved the most in his, you know, movies was just the sound of those nunchucks, man. That was, you know, it was.
He had fresh oil in that new chain.
I mean, it was scary, though. It was just the fact that, you know, this man is swinging these things so fast that they're cutting through the air, making this noise you had never heard before in life as a child. You're just like, what is that? That's just crazy. But the thing is, the man was that amazing in real life. Yeah. I mean, his sidekicks, as they said, were so strong that he could kick a 300-pound heavy bag. Most people punch a heavy bag, that thing don't move. Yeah. He could kick it so hard, it would recoil and hit the ceiling. Now, who in their right mind nowadays could even say that they could do something like that?
Nobody has the patience to. He probably studied that kick 2,000 times, but nobody has the patience for that.
Not only that, but I mean, you look at the guy. There wasn't an inch of fat on his body.
Very disciplined.
I mean, the dude was just, you know, straight up cut. I remember when I was a kid, and you know, all the urban legend stuff is of, you know, he would do this many sit-ups a day, or he'd practice with these electromagnets and all this stuff, and all this just really off-the-wall stuff that it's like, you know. Imagine trying to get your body into a tip-top, perfect kind of shape. I mean, you're talking hours and hours and hours and years of trying to study that kind of stuff. That's just nuts. It's just a great man.
Yeah, and I think like you said, the Chuck Norrises, the Van Dams, they all are what they are because of him and because of his philosophies, and it's just, you know, trickled down. He was definitely.
Well, even with the Chuck Norris jokes, I mean, a lot of people say that, you know, the Chuck Norris jokes and Chuck Norris can do all these various crazy things. You notice there's no Bruce Lee jokes because Bruce Lee was no joke.
Well, he could have done all those things.
Yeah, Bruce Lee was the man. Period. I mean, it's you know, Chuck Norris even acknowledges that in some of the interviews. Of course, you know, his own ego. Not even to say that Chuck has a big ego and he's an egomaniac or anything crazy like that, but even he acknowledges that Bruce was top tier. I mean, you know, he was one of Bruce's students. A lot of different actors, Steve McQueen, James Coburn, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, were students of Bruce, and it kind of makes you kind of sad that, you know, we grew up after he died. Because, you know, I ain't gonna lie, as much interest as I have in martial arts, I would have tracked him down and tried to get some lessons.
Yeah, you know, it would have been really neat to be able to sit there and study under somebody who has that kind of knowledge. You know, whether you're dealing with a musician or, you know, martial arts, you want to go out and find the best and say, look, I want to learn under you, teach me what you have. You know, it is a shame that, you know, he died as young as he did.
So you don't think that Bruce and his age would have done any Total Gym commercials or anything like that?
I think, honestly, you know what? I think he would have definitely emphasized fitness, but I think as he got older, now obviously he was still in tip-top shape, period. I'm sure even at 60, he'd probably be in tip-top shape and probably could, you know, get out there and do whatever. But I think he would have moved on more towards the philosophical side of things. Because, again, he went to school and he studied philosophy. And, you know, he was a very, very intelligent man.
Not only that, but you always have to remember, you never mess with an old Asian guy. Because remember, you always have that 20-year-old big muscle bound dude. It's always a 65-year-old dude with a staff who just whips your tail.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. Yeah. That's usually how it goes. So, now, do you think there could ever be someone to possibly, you know, equate half of, you know, Bruce Lee's discipline?
I think from a standpoint of maybe the action side of it, maybe. Okay. Maybe you could get somebody that could, you know, do the type of things that he did. There's great martial artists out there. Scott Adkins is one of them. He's an outstanding martial artist, but does he live that life? Okay. Bruce Lee was about the life.
I think the closest thing you're going to come to at this point is Jackie Chan, because here's somebody who decided, you know what, I want to take these teachings, I want to make a real career and try to influence people. And really, Jackie Chan has tried to be a positive influence on the culture as far as what he's been able to do, and use his fame and media to just enlighten people.
Well, fellas, guests, ladies, gents, you let us know what you think. If you prefer Chuck Norris or Bruce Lee or whomever, be sure to email us, gameshowchat@gmail. You can also follow us on Twitter @gameshowchat. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook. Game over.